Hi, welcome back. Or if you're just joining, my name is Maya, and welcome to my channel, Cranleyplace, where I'm focused on Hermès scarf style, knot tutorials, and more. In this video, I'll continue my coverage of the new Hermès Spring-Summer 2023 scarf designs appearing on their websites and discuss what we know of them so far. If you haven't seen my past episodes on the season, be sure to check those out. In the meantime, let's get started. Summer is not typically a time when I reach for cashmere, but of course, depending on where you live, it may be an entirely different story for you. And certainly Hermès does not disappoint with various cashmere options also available for the spring-summer 2023 season. This first one is inspired by the beaches of the artist's childhood, Rayures d'été, roughly translating to summer grooves. Jardim offers three diverse landscapes and atmospheres, drawn in bold, freehand strokes. First, the cafe terrace, where friends might meet up any time of the day or night. Second, the charm of an oyster farming village in the pine woods. And third, the peace of Arcachon Bay on the southwestern coast of France, where traditional flat-hulled boats sail along the coast sheltered by the great dunes. Jardim's first scarf with the house was Modernisme Tropical, issued, I think, in 2016, and certainly of which you may see stylistic echoes in this new design. Born in Sao Paulo, Brazil, he reportedly now lives in Biarritz, on the Basque Atlantic coast in the south of France. This Cashmere GM is shown so far in at least 3 colorways, so there should be a few more options still to come. Here is another 140 cashmere shawl by an artist named Tong, who has designed ties for the house, but I think this may be his first scarf design. Of Chinese descent and now living in Helsinki, his background lies in fashion, clothing, textile, and industrial design. I haven't yet seen a backstory on this geometric design, so I'll give you my thoughts. The title, translating roughly to my first Galop, it reminds me of a Tang horse. Tang horses were made in China as tomb accessories for the comfort and use of the deceased in the afterlife. They were a symbol of status and usually found in the tombs of the rich and powerful, as well as the imperial family. The terracotta horse tradition started in the Qing dynasty around 210 BC, when a new rule abolished the necessity of burying their favorite steeds or wives in the tombs with the deceased. From that time on, all kinds of pottery objects and artifacts were made to adorn and suffice the necessities of the dead and buried. Horses were, at the time, considered a representation of strength, speed, and endurance. The best Tang horses are very well animated with a strong face and powerful musculature. Of course, the fact that the centerpiece of this design is a horse is classic Hermès equestrian, but with a very fresh and modern take. I've seen this cashmere shawl in at least 2 colorways at this point, so it will be interesting to see what other color combinations will be offered. This next one, which translates as Back to Nature, is another collaboration from the very imaginative artist duo Theo de Gueltzl and Octave Marsal. Is the city really in the distance, or is this some vision of the future where the meek have inherited the earth and nature is reclaiming land that was once hers, reminding us of a simpler way of life? Hidden in the foliage, you can find all sorts of wildlife carefully observing, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Interestingly, Hermès scarves are not the only thing these artists collaborate on. In 2020, for what would have been Bob Marley's 75th birthday, the duo in fact released an illustrated animated art video of the reggae legend's timeless acoustic anthem, Redemption Song. The video features shape-shifting images of wildlife, sailboats, and visages of towering revolutionary figures like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., and ends with an illustrated version of Marley strumming a guitar before a packed stadium. According to the official Bob Marley YouTube channel, the pair composed over 2,700 drawings, 2,747 to be exact for the video. Now, back to the shawl. I've so far seen this cashmere shawl in at least 2 colorways, one of them with some delicate pastels and the other with a sharp contrast of neutrals and bright pops of color. I'm looking forward to seeing what other combinations they'll issue. Next is a cashmere giant triangle from none other than Gianpaolo Pagni with his characteristic graphic style. The title, as you may have guessed, translates basically to wave horse, and according to the backstory, it's inspired by a bizarre late 19th century American fairground attraction, a diving horse. Popularized in the mid-1880s, as the name suggests, horse diving is when a horse would plunge into a pool of water, sometimes from as high as 60 feet in the air. The most famous venue was Atlantic City's Steel Pier in New Jersey. The practice eventually ended out of animal welfare concerns, but believe it or not, it was quite a popular attraction for a time. At any rate, the horse's head in this scarf is inspired by a vintage engraving and punctuated with sea foam made from, guess what, stamped patterns. So far, this seems to be available in at least 4 colorways. Let's see what else may come available. Col de Soie is a cashmere giant triangle based on some of Marie's past designs. He's transformed 10 illustrations into masks and arranged them carefully for us to pick one to wear for the masked ball. Interestingly, he chose mainly to do half-faced masks, and as far as Venetian masquerade mask styles, this is known as a colombina. Popularized by a recurring character in the Commedia dell'arte by the same name, also known as Columbine or Colombina, the Colombina is traditionally a half mask adorned with an ornate variety of jewels, feathers, and fabrics. Often painted in gold or silver, it's usually held in place by either a ribbon or a stick. Now, it was a bit of a brain teaser to try and pinpoint the designs in this scarf. They gave us 3 in the backstory, first being La Dame de Coeur, Spirographie, and La Source de Pégase. Then I think I see La Pâtisserie Française, Sous l'égide des Mars, Point d'Orgue, Les Trophées, Duel onirique, and Laboratoire du Temps. That leaves one more, which I haven't been able yet to fathom, but if you recognize it, please let me know in the comments. I've seen this in at least 4 colorways, all with contrast hems. Likely there will be a few more to come as the season unfolds. Here is a design I spoke about the other week in a 90 centimeter silk twill format, and now here in a cashmere giant triangle as well. It's interesting to see how well the design lays out in diagonal format for a very different look to the carré. In my coverage of the 90 centimeter version, I talked a bit about the fates, their names, and what each of the sisters was responsible for in terms of determining an individual's lot in life. It is notable that Zeus may or may not have had anything to say in the matters of the fates. To the ancient Greeks, it seems that even he, ruler of the gods, wasn't able to overrule their decrees. For example, Even though at one point during the Trojan War, Zeus is aware that his beloved son, Sarpedon, will die at the hands of Patroclus, Zeus can do nothing to save him. Also, before the duel between Hector and Achilles, Zeus merely weighs their destinies on his golden scales and learns the outcome, as opposed to having any control over it. So far, I've only seen this in one colorway with contrast hem, and I can't wait to see what else they'll make available. Here's another reissue of a much beloved design, now in a 55 centimeter bandana format. Inspired by Mughal motifs, this silk twill scarf is dedicated to the Maharani of Jaipur. Born in 1919, Princess Gayatri Devi of Kuch Behar, she was the third wife of Maharaja Sawi Man Singh II. Her tastes and culture were equally inspired by India and Europe, and she became somewhat of a fashion icon. But more importantly, she became an influential political figure who, among other things, crusaded to get Indian women access to education. In the early 1940s, she founded a girls' school that bore her name. And 20 years later, she became a member of parliament, elected by the largest majority in Indian history at that time. The Maharani of Jaipur loved nature and gardens, and in this scarf, Annie Faivre wanted to pay homage to her by, quote, offering her flowers, unquote. This is available in at least 4 colorways with these delicious striped hems. Personally, I don't have any scarves in this size, but this one certainly makes me think twice. So there you have it. More of the Spring-Summer 2023 scarves from Hermès that are starting to appear online. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments. In future episodes, I'll share other scarf reviews, not tutorials, and more, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of new videos. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time!